Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Creative Adventures. It is a beautiful Sunday morning. Today is going to be the hottest it's been here so far this season, and we're going to be going to the pool later this afternoon, and I'm pretty stoked. So for this morning, for my breakfast, I actually got up and had a big bowl of watermelon with my typical morning bagel. And it made me remember that I had a watermelon fragrance sitting in my craft room that I haven't tried out yet. So I decided to whip up a batch of watermelon scented soap. This design that I'm going to do today has been done every which way to Sunday by a lot of different soapers, but I think it's really cute and it's really fitting for this time of year. So I wanted to go ahead and try it for myself. So I'm going to be doing half of my bar in a couple of green different swirled colors, and then the other half of my bar is going to be a pink watermelon color. I'm going to use poppy seeds suspended in the batter to kind of mimic the look of watermelon seeds in the soap, and this will also provide a little bit of exfoliation too. So I think this will be a really nice bar of soap. The colors that I'm going to be using today, I've actually already dispersed them in some oil that I just pulled from my main batch here. But this is the Lily Pad Green Mica. This is the one that I used for the fresh cut grass soap that I did a while back. This is a Lime Green Mojito Mica. I haven't used this one before, but both of them, all of my colors today are from Wholesale Supplies Plus. So those are the two colors. That's the Lily Pad, and this is the Lime Green Mojito. So I'm going to be splitting off my batch in half, and one half I'm going to use these two colors in and just do an in the pot swirl to pour those into my mold. The second half of my batch is going to be done in this pink watermelon infusion mica, also from Wholesale Supplies Plus. It's a really nice bright pink. I think that's really pretty. And the poppy seeds, of course, are going to be going into the pink side. The fragrance that I'm using is from Essential Depot. The last couple of soaps I've made have used fragrances from that company, and this is my first time using all of these fragrances that I bought. I was very, very happy with the other two fragrances that I've tried so far, which was the Dragon's Blood and the Sun and Sand. I'm not so sure how this one's going to go because this fragrance is just a watermelon fragrance. I will link to it on my blog, but it doesn't really smell like watermelon, not straight out of the bottle anyway. It honestly just smells like chemically. I don't know. I'm having a really, really hard time smelling this one. It doesn't smell great straight out of the bottle, so I have no idea how this is going to smell in the soap. Hopefully the saponification process will burn off some of that chemical smell, and then the actual watermelon smell will come through. I suppose we will see. So there's my colors, my fragrance, my additives. I'm going to be using my vertical mold today, which is the one I used for the Sun and Sand soap. Normally when I've seen other soapers do this kind of a soap, they've done it in a loaf mold, and the bottom half of the soap, which is the greens or the rind of the watermelon, is much thinner. My bar will actually be half and half. I think it would probably look better in a loaf mold, but I'm trying to find lots of uses for that vertical mold because it was a pretty expensive mold and I want to get a lot of use out of it. And I think these two greens swirled together will be really pretty. So my bar will actually be half rind and half watermelon. So I've already got my mold prepped over to the side, and I've already got all of my oils and my lye water mixed up. My lye is at 93 and my oils are at 83. They are within 10 degrees of each other, so I think we're ready to start soaping. This particular recipe is the same one that I used for Sun and Sand, and I will have the ingredients, the oil percentage amounts on my blog, and I will link my blog in the description below. But it's a mix of coconut oil, rice bran oil, palm oil, shea butter, and castor oil. Now my lye water over here, I've actually already mixed my sodium lactate into this as well. Again, this is a vertical mold with acrylic sides, and it is a little bit difficult to get your soap unmolded from those hard plastic sides, so you definitely don't want to skip the sodium lactate for this soap. All right, my gloves are on. And we are ready to start mixing. Now I'm gonna go ahead and pour my lye, water, and sodium lactate mixture into my oils. And now I'm gonna go give this Pyrex glass a rinse because I'm going to need this to split my batch off into. All right. Well, let's just get this up to emulsification, and then we will split it off into our other containers. Okay, we're nice and emulsified now. I know this batch of soap makes about 8 cups of batter, so I'm gonna put 4 cups in here. I'm going to put 2 cups into this smaller pitcher here, and then I'm gonna leave 2 cups in this big bowl. Now, let's add our colors. So I'm going to pour the light green into this one. Try to get all of that color in there. And I'm going to add the dark green to this pour pitcher over here. And then on this side, I'm going to add all of my pink to this cup. All right. Making a mess as usual. All right, I'm gonna start with my light green over here. Oh, that's pretty. Okay. And over here, let's mix up my dark green. And then finally, we're going to mix up our pink. Now this pink I want to actually be a little bit thicker because I want it to be thick enough that I can suspend my poppy seeds into it and they not all sink to the bottom. That's actually pretty good right there. All right. Now I'm just going to be mixing my fragrance in by hand. So I'm just going to split this up, pour about half in there, and then split the rest between my greens. And let's give this a mix. And for this, I'm gonna go ahead and take my poppy seeds and just pour them right into my pink here. And I added about 2 tablespoons of poppy seeds. You could also use something like jojoba beets, but I always have poppy seeds on hand because I make bagels so often. So now we're just going to do a very slight in the pot swirl for this, pouring one color into the other at 12, 3, 6, and 9, and then we'll give it a couple of stirs with the spatula. And I may actually stir this one a little different than normal. I think I'm gonna zigzag it since I'm pouring this into a vertical mold. When I did that sun and sand and I did a normal in the pot swirl with that, it made like basically spirals, which is not really what I want for this. It was fine for clouds, but I actually want this to look a little more like stripy. So I'm going to take my spatula and just like cut across back and forth, and then I'll do it this way as well. All right, that is all of the swirling I'm going to do. So let's move these out of the way just a tad and get our mold out. Now I've already got my mold prepped. It's already cleaned up, already set up, got my divider in the middle and got a toothpick holding my divider in. And we are going to pour. And hopefully I won't make too much of a mess. All right. All right, I'll grab my spatula here and see if I can get the last of this scraped out of the bucket. Hey, I made less of a mess than I did last time, so that's always good. And now we're going to pull the divider out. So pull my toothpick out and try to pull this straight up. Okay, And last but not least, I'm just going to take what's left of this pink, because I've got a little extra here, and pour that right on top. That end bar will be mine, of course. This looks so good, I want to eat it. Let's get the edges cleaned up here. Tap down one last time, and this one's ready to go in my craft room and get nice and set up. It still smells like chemicals though. It still does not smell like watermelon, so I guess we'll see in a couple of days what this actually smells like after it's had a chance to harden up and then get through the saponification process, but I'm not feeling super confident right now, I'll tell you that. So I'm gonna go put this in my craft room, seal it away so none of the dogs can get into it, and we will be back in a couple of days to see how this looks. Hey, welcome back guys. So it has been about 3 days since I made this soap. I let this one sit a nice good long amount of time. And I still gouged up my edges quite a bit trying to get it out of my mold. I think next time I use this vertical mold, I'm going to use some mineral oil to grease the insides of the acrylic sides of the mold to see if it will help get it out a little bit easier. Mineral oil doesn't actually saponify, so you should be able to use that as basically as like a pan release, as a grease for the inside of your mold. So I'm gonna try that next time. However, I am still super happy with how the soap came out. It is so cute, and I haven't even cut it yet, and I can just tell I'm going to love it. I'm actually sitting out on my porch right now because it's nice and sunny and beautiful today. It's about 6:30 p.m. I just got home from work, and my lighting is terrible this time of day inside, so I said, hey, why not? I'll just come sit out on my porch and do this. I'm gonna have to get me a table for out here though. So, let me get my cutter over here. Got my cutter all cleaned up. Get the last side off. Look how cute this is. Haven't even cut it and it's super cute. And it smells better. Now that, you remember I was complaining at first about the smell of this fragrance oil right out of the bottle. It smelled really chemically. The watermelon scent is still not that strong, but that chemical scent did go away throughout the saponification process. So it does smell like watermelon now. It smells quite nice, but I'm not real happy with the strength of the fragrance. Wholesale Supplies Plus has a fragrance called Watermelon Mania, and if I remake this soap, which I probably will because I love this design, I might try their fragrance oil to see how it compares to this one from Essential Depot. So let's get to the cut and see what we think about it on the inside. And there are my last two end pieces. That's just, this one looks a little funky because that's where I'd started to just scrape some of the last of the batter off into the top of the mold. And then that's the end piece, which I did get some soda ash on the top of this one, but I didn't spray it with alcohol either, so that's probably why that developed. So I am loving this design. I have a really mild swirl in that green. I think next time I won't swirl it as much in the pot. I will just kind of do a drop into the pot and then let the action of pouring it into that tall mold do the mixing, because I think it swirled a little more than I would have liked just because I was pouring it from so high. But it's really subtle and it's really cute, and that dark green might actually darken up a little bit more as it cures. This is super cute though, and it actually does smell a lot more like watermelon now that I've got it cut too. That's kind of releasing that fragrance out a little bit more. Still gonna try the Wholesale Supplies Plus fragrance though, the Watermelon Mania, and compare it to this Essential Depot fragrance to see if it's a stronger scent and doesn't have that chemical scent up front. But yeah, I am super happy. This bar is also still really soft even though it's been 3 days. Next time I use this mold, I might take the soap loaf out of the mold first and then let it sit out for a day before I actually cut it. But even just getting it out of the mold was so difficult that I gouged up a couple of the edges. This is also not my standard recipe. I feel like this particular recipe doesn't get as hard as my standard recipe, so I might just try increasing my standard recipe batch and using it next time I use this vertical mold. But all in all, I am really happy with this particular soap. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching me make it, and if you have any suggestions for future videos or soap designs or projects I should take on, let me know in the comments below, because I would love to hear from you. So until next time, see you later on Creative Adventures.